Looks like the fires are coming to a halt. The fire crews are finally getting the flames under control. Macron today has declared a state of emergency. France is looking to its allies, America and others, to help with the rebuilding project already. So far, America has been asked to pay up to 17.89%. Donald Trump expressed his grief at the sight of the burning of Notre Dame in Paris today. Again, as we can see now, the flames are nearly completely extinguished. Macron, who is planning to announce tonight a series of measures after 3 months of national debate that was supposed to encourage ordinary people to choose France's economy and democracy. Instead, he showed up on the scene of the fire. Obviously, at this point, the circumstances surrounding the fire are still unknown. Many are speculating if it's the yellow coats or the yellow vest who have been protesting. Others speculate that it has to do with all of the immigrants coming in. The migration crisis in France, England, and Germany has been severe, but many still are marching every day in France, all throughout Paris, to protest Macron's policies. A much quieter version has been happening in Germany and England. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that it was caused by the yellow vest, the migrants, or just an accident due to the reconstruction attempts on the spire? Obviously, many are still speculating regarding the cause of the fire. The official sources have said that so far, France, the officials, the firemen have been treating it as a complete accident. The area where the fire started in the cathedral was completely surrounded by scaffolding for the reconstruction of the wooded spire. While the spire looks completely concrete and solid, it is actually on the inside completely wood and had been crumbling for years. There was a great effort to reconstruct the crumbling spire. Was this just another accident, or was it something more? Many of you might have seen the Yellow Vests marching on Paris, but to my knowledge, I haven't seen them do anything more than throwing bottles, Molotov cocktails, and glass at police. But even in the protests under the Arc de Triomphe, I have not seen any of the Parisians actually vandalizing their own beloved city. After all, the protests are all about returning to nationalistic values. While in America and elsewhere, cathedrals have been being burned by Muslim migrants, there is as of yet, no evidence that this was a vandalization or arson. The officials at this moment are still treating the fire as a complete accident. As nightfall has hit France, we're seeing the extinguishing of the fire that caused the complete collapse of the Notre Dame Cathedral today, April 15th, 2019. Macron today, April 15th, 2019, has declared a state of emergency in France. Again, now we're watching the complete extinguishing of the fire, and all that remains of the great Notre Dame Cathedral is its skeleton. Several hours ago, the spiral crumbled into the roof, collapsing most of this most magnificent building. It was France's #1 tourist attraction, and on an average day, outside of construction, would have been the most packed tourist destination, even more so than the Louvre. Many are still speculating as to the complete cause of the fire, although so far it looks like the cause was completely due. Looks like we have lost our live stream from France. I'm going to go ahead and switch back over to the camera. And I think what I'm going to do is give you guys one view of the spire collapsing earlier today and the live fire. And then we'll let you go unless you guys have any comments. Yeah, I agree with you, Rachel. It does look like Macron is finally going to get a little bit of sympathy, even though it's his policies all along that have possibly been causing tensions in his country. If this wasn't the yellow vests, if this wasn't the migrants, then in either case, it was very bad oversight of a very, very important monument to their country. Give me 1 second as I get the feed going again. If you just checked in, the live feed from France has shut off, so I'm going to go back, show you guys a clip of the spire falling today. As you guys can see, it was quite the inferno. As you can see here in this shot, the fire was started in the area surrounded by the scaffolding. The officials are still treating the fire as an accident. This magnificent spire that looks to be all stone is actually made of wood, and that wood was crumbling over time. There was vast efforts underway to reconstruct the failing edifice. Unfortunately, today, Paris lost its greatest monument, its greatest tourist attraction. I completely agree with you, Profane News. We're seeing such a wonderful edifice just crumble away today. What do you guys think? Do you think that this was just an accident, or do you think that it had to do with the Yellow Vest rioters, or possibly the influx of migrants? So far, France's official story, the official narrative, and what the firefighters and other officials are acting as is that it was an accident, that it was some kind of issue during the reconstruction. I'm not sure what. I wouldn't suggest that it would be something from welding, as again, it was a wood edifice. However, they could have been trying to do some structural support. Any spark or extra slag from welding could fall on any of that interior wood and turn that thing into an inferno. Wow. If so, I think many Christians are going to feel a great loss if that's true, Profane News. If the crown of thorns that was upon Jesus was in fact in that building as it burned today, something that many would consider more than a historical artifact has been lost. I noticed that too. I think that the smoke might be so yellow because of that paint, and many of those old oils and paints weren't made with the same kind of stuff we have these days. Let me get another live cast going of the fire. Okay, I got another feed. I'm gonna get it going. Really appreciate you guys joining me. This was kind of a last minute live cast because of what we do have going on in Paris today. Not only is it historical, but it is truly sad. See, we got another live feed up now. Let's get it maximized for you guys. Just opening that live chat back up. Absolutely, Profane News. Thanks for stopping in. As you can see, just the skeleton remains. Many outside components to that edifice are in fact stone, but much of the inside is plaster that is affixed to look like stone over wood. Those wood beams have been failing for a long time, and in the spire there was particular concern because the wood was crumbling off. Again, it's been under reconstruction for quite a while. People aren't exactly sure whether it has to do with the yellow vest, if it has to do with migrants, or if it just had to do with a complete accident during reconstruction. Macron today has come out and declared a national emergency for France. And I think that that's actually going to be another thing that adds fuel to the fire for the yellow vests. As their attention has waned and waned and waned, I think that many are going to be outraged that the policies that they have been fighting against are not being addressed by Macron. And a fire, which obviously could be easily handled by the fire department. However, the reasons why they did not use helicopters or other aircraft to put out the fire, those rumors have not quite come out all the way, but I've seen several different postings across the internet that they were concerned for several factors. Personally, to me, I think that those might be outweighed by the fact that it's such a historical monument. But today, what I think Macron and many other across France are considering that one of their saddest days in modern times, I think is going to come back to bite Macron. It's going to be seen as ineptitude by the governing bodies that did not quickly address the fire. And as Profane News said up earlier in the live chat, that's a lot of history that was lost today. You know, that I do wonder that Profane News. I don't know if or what kind of insurance claim you can truly have on such a prestigious monument. I would almost assume that the French National Treasury would be backing it. But I've seen calls already for the US and others to chip in and pay for the rebuilding. And at this point, it literally would be an entire rebuilding. As you can see, some of the ground supports are still intact. Some of the face of the building, which is made of pure stone, is still intact, although it's going to be heavily fire damaged and would need to be treated several times, acid washed, to no longer have the ash on it. I'm sure they will try and rebuild it. They're already pushing for finances to do so. But as Profane News pointed out, they didn't even have enough to cover the original restoration. Debbie, I I agree with you. I think that specifically the Catholic churches uh, have really tried their best to hide some of those things from within. And it besides the yellow vesters, besides migrants and Muslims, it's very well that other upset Christians or non-Christians, just upset people, could have vandalized or set fire to the building. I'm really interested in hearing why the fire was started. If I do catch wind of that while we're here on the stream, I'll definitely point you guys the right direction. But so far, as far as I found out, the cause is still unknown. Again, here in a few minutes, I'll re-show clips of the spire falling, and the flame is an inferno in high esteem earlier today. Welcome, Zidmire Rodriguez. Yes, it's truly sad what's happened there. Not just that history, but if you think of all the stonemasons, all of the people that put all of those years into that building, uh, over the years restoring it, they were currently trying to restore it. Um, it's really sad. Yeah, Debbie, Profane, I see what you're saying. I personally believe that things do come back around on you, and while this wasn't the Vatican, I think most people in Europe would rather that the Vatican had burnt down than Notre Dame or other esteemed places like the Louvre. As you can see, the fire is almost completely out. Yeah. Here, I'll go ahead and flip on the clip showing the spire falling, and you can really see the damage to the building while the fire's still going on. It's really sad to see how much actually crumbles. Let's see if I can pull it up for you guys here in just a second. I'd love to hear what you guys think. If you have seen anything that has related the possible causes to the fire, I believe the only thing that so far has been predicted it as probably being is the reconstruction efforts. I'm not quite sure why that would have done it. I'm not sure if that tower was ever retrofitted with electricity. Uh, I haven't personally been there, but as you can see in the video I'm about to pop up is a clip I did from earlier today, and it shows the spire crumbling and falling. It shows the fire starting at the epicenter, and you'll get a good little bit of feedback from one of the local Parisian reporters who talks about uh, really Macron's reaction and the French's reaction to it.